Hello teachers, this lecture is most suitable for science teachers, that is those teachers who teach physics, chemistry or biology, because one of the concepts we deal with in these subjects is the concept of the atom. But this lecture can also be useful for other teachers who teach other subjects, because there are some skills in animation that you can be able to learn from this lecture. So I'm going to use PowerPoint to show you how you can animate the concept of the atom. Now, why do I want to do that? From my own experience, the concept of the atom is not very easy for most learners to understand. So I've discovered that one of the ways in which I can help learners to be able to understand this concept is to create animations or simulations in various concepts. And one of these concepts is the concept of the atom. Over here, you can be able to see that I've got a good atom where this is the nucleus of the atom. It is spinning about this axis. And then we've got a few electrons revolving around the nucleus. And then the whole of this is the atom. The reason why I say that this concept is not very easy to teach is because we usually say that the atom is a very, very tiny particle. And then the atom itself has got other tiny particles. And these particles are not stationary. They are moving. So students just wonder, how is this motion? That is where animations or simulations come in. So in this lecture, I'm going to show you exactly what you can do, how you can use Microsoft PowerPoint to animate or to draw an atom, and you animate certain aspects of the atom. That is as far as the motion of the smaller particles of the atom is concerned. We know very well that an atom consists of protons, neutrons, and electrons which are orbiting the nucleus. So let's go straight to the steps that we are going to follow in order to carry out this process. The steps are very simple. There are just these two steps. Step number 1 is to draw this diagram, and step number 2 is to animate. Drawing diagrams is a challenge for most teachers, so I'd like you to be patient enough. I'll go step by step on what I do so that I make sure that you understand every step. And we are going to use Microsoft Word to draw, and then to copy that drawing into PowerPoint, from where now we can animate the drawing. So let's go straight to Microsoft Word. So over here, I've got a page in Microsoft Word, and we are going to draw our diagram here. Now, the first thing that I want to do is go to View. Of course, it's one page, and then I go to Page Width so that I can make very large diagrams here. The next thing is to insert a grid here, because I want a diagram which is very proportional. Again, while I'm still on View, I just click a grid, and there is this beautiful grid which appears here that allows me to draw whatever diagram that I want to very high degree of accuracy and proportionality. So the first thing that you want to do is to insert the grid on this page. When you do that, the next thing you will go to Insert, and then in the group of tabs named Shapes, you will go all the way to the bottom, New Canvas. You insert a new canvas, and you can see the boundary of the new canvas is somewhere around here. Grab this corner here, take it all the way up to the end over there, so that you can make your diagram to be as large as possible. And that is enough. Now, I want to draw the nucleus of the atom, and I'm going to use tiny spheres to represent the protons. So again, while I'm still on Insert, I will go to this circle here, this oval. Click on it, and then click in the canvas, and I'll have my circle appearing here. And then grab the corners, shrink it so that it goes to the size which I want. The size of one of the squares would be enough. Then go to fill in. I want a color such as, I want the same color as I had used there. Let me use this red one. And then I want to remove the outline because I don't want it to have any outline. And then do some further formatting on it. Go to this emphasis of, they call it intense effects. And it gives you a three-dimensional shape of what you are trying to draw. This like three-dimensional. It looks three-dimensional actually. Just have a look at it. Three-dimensional. That is what I want because I want those particles to be represented by tiny spheres instead of just circles. That is why I've gone to this. And you find it in format. And the moment you come here, there are so many shapes or effects that you could choose from. Alright, so I've got my proton. I can change its color the way I want. Like I said, I want that intense color, but intense color doesn't bring, it appears as if it doesn't bring in that three-dimensional aspect. This is what brings me three-dimensional because you can see there is the shadows are emphasized very, very well here. Other than one isotope of hydrogen, which has got just a single proton in the nucleus, all the other atoms or elements have got two or more protons. So I'm going to increase the number of protons that I have here. So I just click on this, copy and paste. So Control C and then Control V. And when I paste, it goes to this corner and I want to grab it and drag it all onto this position. How do I do that? While it is still selected like that, if I bring my cursor, you'll find that my cursor changes shape. There is that plus sign with arrows on all directions. So I left click, hold, drag, and I bring it here. So I want it to be, okay, let me just put it there because I want to make a nucleus with several protons. The next thing is to copy the two of them. Again, copy, paste, they appear here. Drag them here. I copy the 4 and paste. Again, drag them over here. I can even copy these 8 and of course bring them here. You can see that just by using the simple skill of copying and pasting, you can be able to duplicate a shape that, remember, the only shape which took you time to draw was the first sphere, and then you wanted to draw many of them. Just copy and paste. Now all these spheres, they appear to be in the same plane. I want them I want to arrange them such that they make some kind of a ball. So I can bring this one here, put it here. I want that sphere to be maybe this size. So let me bring one here, another one here. So at this point, I'm going to do it a little bit quickly so that it doesn't take a lot of time. Now, there are going to be some spheres which are going to be above others. Like, for example, when you look at this and this, you can definitely see that this is above this other sphere. And that is the kind of effect I want to bring in. So I'm going to move this sphere to some point here. And notice that when it's a bit difficult to get very fine motions. Why is that? It's because of the grid. So at this point, I can get rid of the grid. I do not need it, so that it allows me to make very fine motions like that. So the grid has got its place. So I'm going to move it, that one there, again move it there, grab another one, move it to some point there, another one. You know, I want to make some kind of a ball with so many spheres like that. And remember, in the same ball, I'm going to put the protons. I'm going to put the neutrons. So don't lose sight of that there, and maybe we just put this one away. So I'm going to convert one of these spheres into a neutron. How do I do that? Just come here, it's selected, just change its color. Maybe blue, something like that. And now I've got a proton. That is one of the things that I can be able to do. Another thing that I can do is this. Let me delete that. Is to copy the whole of that. Copy, paste. It appears here. And then change the color. And I've got all these. They are neutrons. They are equal in number to the protons. Now, we know that neutrons usually come and separate the protons. So if I put this the way it is over here, it's going to obscure every proton that I have here. So what is the best thing to do? The best thing to do is to group them, and then I sort of rotate it through 180 degrees. So when all of them are selected, I'll come to format. Of course, it's already selected there because I'm already working on the drawing. When you're working on the drawing, the format tab is always selected by default. So I'll come to group, click on it, and then group. What grouping helps me to do is to make sure that all these particles, all this shape, they behave like one shape which can be controlled using this. So when I move this, I'm moving everything. It helps me to just select one of them and everything is selected. If I want to rotate, like for instance, I want to rotate it through 180 degrees. There it is. It's rotated through 180 degrees. There. Now I'm going to shift it so that it comes into this position over here. And you can see it obscures nearly everything that I have there. What do I do? Select everything and ungroup. Now, this allows me to shift them. It allows me to shift them very, very quickly so that now I can be able now to position them so that they go in between the protons. So in the drawing, you're going to spend some time here doing all this stuff. So first of all, move them away like that, and like that, like that. Find that all the neutrons, all of them, are above the planes of the protons. So what is it that I want to do? I can bring this one here. Okay. Now, I want this to separate those two protons which are right at the back. What is it that I need to do? I come here. I can send it all the way to the back. There. But then, go back again and move it one step in front. No, bring it forward. Bring it one step in front or forward. Just watch what happens when I click here. Nothing happens. Click again, nothing happens because there are so many planes here. So many planes. So really, this one is something that you've got to be patient with. How about if I sent it backwards one step? Again, send it backwards another one step. You've got to keep on clicking on it until it reaches, maybe it reaches one of the planes of the next proton, so that when you just click it once, it goes below. And this is what I mean by this. Let me get one of the protons here, so that in order to make this video to be a little bit shorter, these two protons, you can see both of them, but this one is in a plane which is nearer to us than this one. So this one is at the back, this one is in front. I want to bring this neutron here in such a way that it separates them. It separates them. How do I do that? Go to it. I can either send it all the way to the back. You can see it's obscured. And then I can go back to the same tab of format. Has to be selected. And then bring it forward just one step. I'm hoping it will jump one step. Let me keep on clicking this several times until that time that it just jumps one step forward. There. You can see what has happened. Now it is in a plane which is between this plane and this plane. And then I can move it slightly inwards. Like that. Maybe slightly down, like that. And I want to bring in the effect that this neutron is separating this proton and this proton, because that is the function of the neutrons. So eventually what I end up having is something like this. So this is what I end up having. The protons and the neutrons forming one ball, like that, or one sphere. This is the nucleus. So when I click on it, you can see that I had already grouped everything. So what I need to do is select that and ungroup. Reason why I ungroup that, I want to copy just one of the spheres. Copy, paste. This sphere, I'm going to change its size and color. So I'm going to make it just slightly smaller and call it the electron. There. This is the electron. So let me change the color. Which is the best color over here? Black one? No. Green? Looks like that one is the best. So I have this electron which is in the innermost shell, and I want two of them. Copy, paste, and I can put it on this other side of the nucleus. Now I'm going to draw a circle here in order to identify the path of that electron. So I'm going to insert a circle. Insert, shapes, circle or oval. Insert it here. The first thing I do is to remove the fill-in so that I'm left with this outline. And maybe at this point I can bring back the grid, because I want my circle to be a perfect one. Like that and like that. So of course here, in order to get a perfect circle, what you need to do is grab these corners and then move the corners along the diagonal of one of the squares, like this. So I can move it through two squares, 1, 2, or just through one of them. You know, I do that so that this part here is exactly on a line corresponding to the grid, and this other one is exactly on a line corresponding to the grid. And for me to know whether this one is a perfect circle, I can count from the center this way and this way. It should be equal. So That one is just a simple scale. I'm just using the diameter. This diameter and this diameter, they should be equal. So I'm going to move this electron to be exactly on the circle. Somewhere around there. This other one too, somewhere around here. Remember, if it is a bit difficult to move it anywhere around here, then you can remove the grid, because the grid is what is bringing in that problem. So at this point, I want to animate with these particles moving in the Z, X axis. So I can copy all this. Now before I do that, I need to ensure that this is grouped so that it can act as one unit. So group it like that, and then copy everything, Control C. Now let's go back to our PowerPoint slides. Over here I've got my PowerPoint. I go to an empty one over here. Let me remove this so that now I can paste it in this region. Let me first of all remove the grid, because there are times when the grid is good, sometimes it's not, and therefore I'm going to copy my drawing here. Control V, and there we have it. So the next thing is to make the nucleus to spin. That's the first thing. So I'm going to select it, and now I'll go to the animations tab. See that tab over there? Okay, first of all, let me move it slightly to the side, because there are a few things which I want to show you here, and I don't want that one to be obscured. So copy the nucleus, or select the nucleus, go to animation, and then you'll go to this arrow here. I want to show you the various effects of animation. I'm just interested in one of them, but there are so many of them that you could be able to use depending on what you want. So the best one that I want to use is this one here, because I want it to spin. You can see that. So I'm going to click on that so that I can have the nucleus spinning. Now let me bring it back to the center. And at this point, I can go to slideshow just to see whether how the progress is. That is something which I want you to encourage. Each and every time you do some changes, go to the slideshow just to see what you're going to get. I click and it starts spinning, but then it stops after some time. By default, it stops after 2 seconds. I don't want that to happen. I want it to spin all the way until the end of the slide. So let me exit the slideshow. Now at this point, when you are in animation, let me remove this because I want to show you something. When you click animation, on the far right, you can see this one here, animation pane. Just go and click it and it will appear there, so that now I can manipulate the animation which I've put for this shape here. When I click this arrow, at the end, there will be a drop down arrow like that. Let me click timing, for example, to see whether I can be able to change the duration for which it spins. I can be able to change that duration, make it 3 seconds, 5 seconds, or just type the time which I want here. I just need to put my cursor there, delete that, and put my own time there, maybe 10 seconds. I have something like that. That's the way it is spinning. Maybe that one is a good one. I don't know. You can choose your own timing. I want to go back here and put it back to 2 seconds, because by default it gives us 2 seconds, and I believe that is one of the best times. Now, how about the fact that it stopped after a short duration of time? I want it to repeat this motion for until the end of the slide. Click that. There are some effects here which can give us smooth start, smooth end. Already there is no smooth start, no smooth end, and that is exactly what I want. The direction in which it is spinning is clockwise. I can change that, make it spinning in the counterclockwise direction. So there are several things which I can be able to do here. And I'm going to say OK. Let me see the effect of that. Slideshow, current slide, play. And you can see it's now going to spin indefinitely until I click to bring it to the end of the slideshow. So let me end the slideshow, go back here. Now the next thing is to make this electron to move around the nucleus. Again, what is it that I want to do? Select it. Now, you've seen what I've done? Like that? Because sometimes when I come here and click like that, it ends up selecting this circle, because the plane of the circle is above the plane of the sphere. You know the order in which I drew them. First of all, I drew the sphere and then I drew the circle. So the sphere, its plane is behind the plane of this circle. But that one is not a big issue, because if that is a problem, I'll go and just change which one is above and which one is below. But if it is for the sake of selecting, I can move my cursor until I have the arrow, and then left click, hold and drag until it covers the electron. So the electron is selected. I want it to move around, or to move around this nucleus. So again, I go to animation, click here, and then I'll go to shapes, motion path, shapes. Click on that. And you can see that is the way the electron rotates. Now I want it to rotate differently. So let me select the electron plus the animation itself. Then use my arrows on my keyboard to move it all the way until it is at the top here. I can move it back to its original position and then rotate this path. I'll be able to show you in a moment what I mean. So I come to the path, click on the path, and there are these dots which allow me to change the shape. So I want to align that path with the shape of the sphere that I had put there. Remember that sphere was just a guide. That sphere, it was just a guide. And you can see that it is serving a very good purpose, allowing me to know when to get a perfect circular path. Again here, I can increase the zoom in order to be able to get a very fine positioning of this circle. And there I have it. Over here. Notice that this one starts spinning while this one is still stationary. I want them to start at the same time. It's because of this 1 and 2. So when it comes to animation, when these numbers are there, it starts with 1, and then when 1 is over, it starts with this one. But I want them to start at the same time. How do I do that? I just come to this arrow, click, and then start with the previous. The moment I click, the 2 disappears, and they are going to start simultaneously. Notice what happens when I play. You can see they start at the same time. But this one ends up stopping when this one continues moving. So what is it that I need to do? Just go to timing, and while I'm here, I'm going to make it all the way up to the end of the slide. And when I go to effects, yeah, this is it. I don't want smooth start. I don't want smooth end. I want everything to start with a certain high speed. Now, how about the timing? The timing is just too fast. Let me make it 5 or 4 seconds. Double the time for the spinning of the nucleus. Four seconds. So that appears to be good time for me. Let me see whether I've got to change anything else. I could see that it was turning in the same direction as the spin of this one. Let's see. Yeah, spinning in the same direction. I don't want that. Maybe I want the electron to spin in the opposite direction. I can come to this arrow here, just right click, and then reverse the path direction. There we have it. Now the next one is, of course, now I can remove this circle. I do not need the circle now. Let me see whether I've selected it, because if I press delete, yeah, it has deleted the circle. Let me undo that, because I still need the circle for this other electron. So what I will do, I'm going to copy and paste that circle. You will understand that one in a moment, while I delete the previous one. Now actually I've deleted the animation. Now I have the circle selected because the animation has not been selected. So I can delete that. The circle is gone. Now I want this electron to revolve in a circle which is in a plane which is the ZY plane. So the ZY plane, I'm going to shrink this one a little bit like that, so that I can move it somewhere around here. And I want it to spin in such a way that, or even in a plane which is almost perpendicular to this other plane, but turned at an angle. Then I'm going to get the electron. It's the electron that I want. So select it there and move it here. Once I have it there, I'm going to animate it. Choosing that. So I change the direction of this path to be along this circular path. It's almost there, so I've got to shift this one just slightly, and there we have it. Okay, it is almost fitting, but I think that one is a comfortable position. And now I'm going to test. Of course, I want it to start with the previous, and at the same time, I want it to rotate until the end of the slide. How about the timing? The timing for the other one was 4 seconds. I want to make this one 5 seconds because I want to observe its motion there. Nice. But when it is around here, I want part of it to be in front of the nucleus and part of it to be behind the nucleus. So let me shift this one to the side just a bit there in order to achieve that effect. So I've moved away from the circle, which I was using as a guide, but it is still in a good position. So for this part of the circular path, in fact, let me remove the circle. For this part of the circular path, the electron is behind the nucleus, but for this part, it is in front of the nucleus. Remember, of course, this electron is here. So the moment I start playing the animation, the electron will simply jump here. So I don't need to worry about its position right now. Now, how do I make sure that it is behind there? So all I need to do is just choose that path. It is this one that I'm going to choose and format. Bring forward. Over here. In front of everything. Yeah. So that makes sure that this electron will be behind. What I would have done is to choose the electron itself, format, and then send it all the way to the back. So either way, it will achieve the same effect. Right, now I'm ready to play my simulation, but I can just test from here just to see what is happening. I don't want these electrons to collide with each other, but I can tell from slideshow, current slide, and set it into motion. It appears to be stopping at that point. I don't know what is happening. Let me go back to that simulation and see what the problem could be. Timing. No, it's nothing to do with the timing. It's everything to do with this effect. You see this one here? Start smooth and smooth end. That is a problem. So make them 0, 0, 0, each one of them. Again, let's go to the slideshow, test, and now I have my beautiful simulation. You can see that I've got a nucleus which is spinning and electrons which are revolving around the nucleus. And this is how you design a simple animation of the atom using Microsoft PowerPoint. I'll be designing many of these animations and I'd like to share these videos with you. So if this is your first time to this channel, I will appreciate if you subscribe so that you get notified every time I create a new lecture. Of course, don't forget to like and share this video with other teachers.